Hey everybody, welcome back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, learningtomix.com, and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we're going to take a look at another one of the Tony Maserati Signature Series plugins by Waves. This is the Harmonics plugin, which is widely used on like organs and keyboards. We're going to listen to it on an organ today and show you what it sounds like. These are great plugins for someone who's new to the craft of mixing, or someone who's just a recording musician at home that wants to drop some plugins on their well-recorded tracks and enhance them and give them a good foundation and just make them sound better without having to know the inner workings of compression and EQ and a lot of technical stuff. These are great plugins for that. So we're going to take a look at the Harmonics plugin in a second. But before we get to that, if you like what you see in this video, hit that subscribe button below. Also go out to facebook.com/homerecordingmadeeasy and follow me there. And for more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around all aspects of home recording, mixing, and mastering, be sure to go back to homerecordingmadeeasy.com and check out the Quick Mix series as well as the Made Easy series. Those are awesome video tutorial training that will absolutely help you make better mixes and masters and recordings in your home studio, I promise. And last but certainly not least, if you want to join a mixing membership website and hang out with a bunch of like-minded individuals who are getting better at the craft of mixing, whether you are a beginner or a seasoned professional or anywhere in between, I urge you to check out learningtomix.com. It's a wonderful place to not only get better at the craft of mixing, but to also meet other like-minded individuals and gain some friends and do some networking and get a bunch of freebies and a bunch of video content and blah, blah, blah. It's great. Learningtomix.com. So now let's head on over to Studio One and let's check out the Harmonics plugin. So here it is right here. We're going to walk through the layout of the plugin, show it to you on an organ in a couple different ways, and then we're going to head on out and you can go check this out and demo this again at waves.com for 14 days for free. So as I said, easy plugin to use, great for beginners, but also for more advanced people as well. If you don't want to, you just want to drop these on, get things rolling really quickly, these are great plugins. So let's look at the layout and how we use this plugin. So at the bottom middle here, we have two different modes, a modal mode and a bounce mode. Now I got my cheat sheet here right out of the manuals. I can tell you what each mode does. So the modal mode adds the chorus to make the piano sound or keys sound wider. So that's going to be modal. So when we click on modal mode, you're going to see what we got going on there. That is really, again, to add some chorusing to the piano or the keys. Bounce mode is going to go ahead and that is going to also enable a couple of these effects you saw down here on the right hand side, and bounce mode is going to add reverb and delay. Okay, and you can see that this knob in the bottom left hand corner changes to delay mix when we're in bounce mode. When modal mode, it just switches to the amount. The amount is the amount of reverb. So in modal mode, we have reverb. In bounce mode, we have delay. Those are the basic differences. We're going to start on modal mode. Okay, up at the top left-hand corner, let's start with sensitivity. Sensitivity adjusts the input signal coming into the plugin. As with all the Tony Maserati Signature Series plugins, you want to be able to push this sensitivity enough so this LED to the immediate right lights up in kind of a yellow amber color. That is kind of the optimal setting according to the manual for the plugin. They have 3 stages of color: green, yellow, red. Red is going to be clipping. We want to kind of stay away from there. Yellow is kind of the optimal setting, and green is going to be a little on the light side, although you can experiment with that. Underneath the sensitivity, you have the size dial, and that's regardless of what mode you're in, modal or bounce. And the size is going to give you the perceived size of the effect. This is going to make things sound a little bigger, a little wider. It's very, very subtle. Again, the amount in the modal mode is the amount of reverb. The bounce mode, it is the delay mix. Okay, we talked about that a second ago. In the center here, we have our meter here, where we're gonna with this toggle switch right above it, we can meter either the input signal or the output signal. Okay. Over here we have our spread in the top right hand corner. Regardless if we're in the modal mode, our spread is going to give us a kind of a stereo spread, kind of a widening effect, okay, to get it sound a little bit wider in modal mode. In bounce mode, you're going to see that that's going to turn into tempo, and then you can either auto sync it or you can turn it over manual, and you can adjust the tempo manually if you want this thing to the delays, because it's going to be delayed in the bounce mode, to go ahead and sync the delay to the DAW manually, or you can do it auto, however you want to do it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with this. Okay, and we'll go back to modal mode here. When it's in modal mode, it's spread, kind of spread, widening. In bounce mode, it is going to set the tempo for the delays. And then we have our output here, where as we're pushing the sensitivity in, the plugin into the plugin is going to get louder, so we could turn down the output to compensate for that. So when you bypass the plugin up in the top left hand corner here or enable it and kind of A/B it on and off, you want the overall volume to be about the same, so you don't kind of trick your ears into thinking that louder sounds better, and that's always a good practice. And then under here we have the effects mode. Again, when you're in bounce mode, this is going to control the amount of effect, and this is going to control the wet dry mix. Okay, so let's start off in modal mode, and let's go ahead and let's listen to this organ here that I got soloed up. Okay, and we have it with bass and drums. I'm going to mute those bass and drums for a second so we can just hear the organ on its own. You can already hear the reverb there because of the amount that we have. Okay, so first thing we want to do, start with the sensitivity all the way down. Let's adjust our sensitivity so we get to, and I'll turn down the output here a little bit, so we get to that optimal yellow setting. Okay, so when you bypass the plugin, turn it on and off, you want to try to get that balance with the output in the sensitivity. You work those together, and then you kind of level match the plugin. Okay, now let's check out what the size does here. First, I'm going to turn down the reverb. So there's automatically, even with the size of the amount all the way down, you're still going to get a little bit of reverb in this, and then the amount is going to change the amount of reverb. So let's start with the size. Super subtle. So the one thing I failed to mention at the beginning of this video, that hopefully you're watching this and listening to this on either a good set of studio monitors and or cans here. If you're listening to this on earbuds or some cheap laptop speakers or an iPhone or Android, something like that, you're not going to hear these subtle effects. So the size really, again, it just kind of gives it a perception of it being a little bit wider, but it's super subtle. The amount here, again, controls the amount of reverb in this mode. Okay, so that's what that does. Okay, too much, obviously. So let's just bring this back up here and let's just dial back this reverb, shall we? So you'd probably do this in the context of a mix, right? Now the spread is going to kind of do this. They're going to kind of do the stereo spreading here. So you could definitely hear that much more than the size. I think the size is really the size of the reverb, not the size of the old. So in other words, the size is really how big of the reverb you want it to be, how big of a room, if it's a room, how big of the room you want it to be. So the size really kind of corresponds, it sounds to me like, with the amount or with the reverb amount. The spread really controls the width of the plugin, and as I or this, you can hear it as I turn this up, it seems to get a lot wider, and then it gets much more narrow when I turn it towards the far left here. Cool. It's before, after. So that is the modal mode. That's pretty cool. So it adds a little bit of width, a little bit of reverb to it, and kind of just brightens it up. The tone of the reverb kind of brightens it up a little bit. Doesn't sound as dark when I start with it in the bypass mode. Really nice, right? So now if we go over to the bounce mode is going to bring our delay in here. So again, let's start, and also on the bounce mode we have a couple of different controls here. So we have a presence control here on the bounce mode where this was sensitivity. This is now a presence control. Okay. So, and then again, we talked about the tempo and the output here. So I don't know how you control the input. That's kind of interesting that the sensitivity goes away and it becomes a presence control. You can hear the delay and the reverb kind of together. Let's turn down the effects here. Okay, so in this particular mode, you can see the LED is grayed out as well. So there is no, in bounce mode, there is no input sensitivity, which is kind of neat. Okay, turn this up a little. So again, the size is probably going to have to do with the amount of delay and reverb. So let's turn up the effects a little. Here's our wet dry knob. Let's go 100% wet, and let's just turn it up a little and see what we get. Okay, you can hear it there. So let's turn down the delay mix a little. So we got to turn up the output to kind of compensate here. Okay, so that's the before and after. Let's get a little more delay happening there. The delay mix will turn it up. We'll turn up the effect a little and just see what that does. Kind of nice. So now if we put this in the context of the mix, let's say some bass, maybe some drums. So that's pretty cool. So it gives it a nice way to just kind of throw a little bit of reverb and delay on there, get a little bit more spacious sounding, and just kind of dress up that organ, which is really, really cool. Maybe interested to hear this would probably do really well on a set of strings, violins, and such. That would work out probably really good as well. So that is the bounce mode. Again, in the modal mode is where the sensitivity kind of comes back in, where you control the input of the signal coming into the plugin, which kind of surprises me. You don't do that in bounce mode, unless when you set it in modal mode, whatever it's set to coming in, it's kind of predetermined on the way in. Maybe the signal, the input sensitivity doesn't change. The manual's not clear about that. So you're gonna have to experiment around a little bit with it. But it does sound pretty good, and I like the fact that you can use reverb, or you can use reverb and delay. I like the fact that you can adjust the tempo, the sync, you can sync it to the tempo with the song, which is really cool. And again, it's super simple to use, and you don't really need to know too much. The only thing I've said in my past videos about these particular Signature Series plugins, I wish they added a one knob compressor on there too, to compress things a little bit. They do, I believe on the vocal module and also the groups module. Check my archive; you'll see my videos on that. I wish all of the modules, bass and harmonics here, would have that compression. That would be nice too, to be able to dial it in. But you can always put a compressor on after the fact in the insert chain, and that would work just as well. So again, these are cool plugins. They sound really good. This is a real simple one, simple to use, not a lot to it, not real complicated, easy peasy, as they say. And again, you can always check out some other presets here as well, and experiment with those. Some of them sound really good, some of them not so much, and you could just dial or tweak them to taste. So I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for joining me, taking a look at the Harmonics plugin by Tony Maserati in Waves. Great plugin. Check it out, demo it, see if you like it. They're on sale all the time, and you can pick this up really inexpensive as well. So join me next time when we take a look at another one of the Tony Maserati Signature Series plugins by Waves, and go back into the archive and check the videos I've done so far. There's 3 or 4 of them now at this point. You can check them all out and then decide whether you want to go demo the product. My name's been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and LearningToMix.com. Again, hit that subscribe button below. Give me the old thumbs up. Share this video with others. It really does help me. And again, go to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and check out all my training content there as well. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email. I'd be glad to help. And until the next video, this has been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.